Alright, I really wish I had just gone ahead and done this before I watched Charlie's video, because a lot of the stuff that I felt he basically said, and now if I say anything, everyone's going to think that I'm just copying him, but I have the only way I can think of to prove that I'm not, and here it is. He uploaded on January 29th, it's January 30th, and if we go to my watch history, we're at today, and this is literally the last thing I watched right before I fucking made this right here, and we can scroll on through to yesterday, and and it's not there. It's everything I watched yesterday. It isn't there. So I didn't watch it until literally today. Literally just got back from the movies. I saw Iron Lung, and this is gonna be a pretty short video because I don't do reviews. I'm not good at reviewing things, least of all movies, because I'm not a super big movie guy. But I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off immediately. I give the movie like a 7.5 out of 10. I thought it was pretty decent. I didn't go into the movie with a whole lot of expectations. The only real expectation I had was that it was going to be a horror film with an unknowable eldritch abomination bent, starring Markiplier. And that's exactly what it was. That's exactly what I got. So my only expectation for the movie was met. Do with that what you will. Yeah, basically, I thought it was just pretty okay. I don't think it's gonna be something that blows everybody's socks off, that everybody's really gonna like. I think people that are going into it expecting, Markiplier acting like Markiplier, I think they're gonna be maybe a little turned off. I think maybe people whose attention spans are completely short-circuited from, going almost, God, it feels like maybe a decade now of the way we consume media with all the short-form content and, like, jingle keys nonsense where nobody can focus for 5 fucking seconds. I think a lot of those people are going to be turned off because it's a very, very, very slow boil, which is fine. I didn't mind that, but I think that's going to be an issue for a lot of people. I thought that a lot of the CGI was really cool. I thought it was really well done. The movie overall looked way better than I was expecting, and Mark's acting was way better than I was expecting. One of the things that I noticed, which is something that Charlie said in his video, and I'm going to have to bring that up because, like I said, I had a lot of the same points. I had a lot of basically the exact same feelings. If you just want to know what I felt about the movie, just go watch fucking Charlie's video, because that's basically it. Mark's acting was actually better than I expected it to be. And the longer the movie went on, it seemed like he got way more comfortable with his acting. So that was cool. At the beginning, it felt like it's like, okay, this is Markiplier. Closer, as the movie progressed, it felt less and less like that's Markiplier, and more like he was the character that he was, portraying. So that was neat. The best part of the movie is probably the sound design, in my opinion. The sound design was fucking amazing. Sound design was great, and the soundtrack was great too. Obviously, Andrew Holsholt really doesn't miss, so you really couldn't have done any better for this kind of movie than Andrew Holsholt. So that's really cool. And overall, it feels like there's nothing that jumps out that makes it feel like anything other than an independent film, which is kind of what it is. But it's a really good independent film, I would say, for being objectively such a small project compared to, how they be doing movies these days, being fully self-funded and self-distributed. I think for something like that, it kind of knocks it knocks everything out of the park when you consider its origins. As has been said 100 times, a million times probably, this movie's not going to be for everyone. I've seen people say that if you're a fan of Markiplier, you like this movie. I don't think that's true. I think there are a lot of people that are fans of Markiplier that will not like this movie. I personally think it's going to be divisive for the Markiplier fans. If you're a fan of Iron Lung, I think you'll love this movie. I think they did an amazing job of adapting Iron Lung to the film. Because I don't think Iron Lung, when it was revealed that it was Iron Lung, forever feels like a lifetime ago. I was like, my immediate reaction to that was, huh, really? because Iron Lung would not have ever been my first pick for, of course, what the fuck do I know, right? But it just wouldn't have been my first pick for something to adapt to film, because Iron Lung as the game is just as much of a slow boil as the film ended up being. Because Iron Lung is one of those things where if you want to get into it, then you have to want to get into it. I think a lot of people probably looked at Iron Lung and thought it was really boring, because Iron Lung, the game, was on a slow burn. And as far as all of the lore and stuff surrounding it, that was something you had to want to get into. That's why I was surprised to see that that was the one that Mark was picking to adapt into a film. But now, having seen the film, I get it. I can understand why he chose to do it, because it does have the concept behind Iron Lung and the little bit of lore behind it is really cool and interesting. Aside from the slow boil, the other reason I don't think I personally would have picked Iron Lung, and the reason I think that this movie's not going to be for everybody, is because, and this is purely just an opinion I'm pulling out of my own ass, this is just the way that I feel like in the modern day, Eldritch Horror is a very hard sell. I think the people that like Eldritch Horror are already like big fans of the Cthulhu mythos and H.P. Lovecraft, right? The average person that's just like an average horror fan, if you ask them, they'll probably be like, Cthulhu's alright, it's whatever. So I think when H.P. Lovecraft created the Cthulhu mythos, when the world at large was more unknown, yeah, it was. That's the reason I think it was as big as it was. Fast forward to modern times, where if I just pull out my pocket library of Alexandria, I could feasibly contact anyone anywhere in the world, or know whatever I want to know about anywhere in the world. Like, if I wanted to know how much of the ocean is unexplored, I could find that out right now. With the world not being as unknown, I think Eldritch Horror is a much harder sell, because Eldritch Horror's entire thing is it's the dread and the horror comes from this unknowableness. That's not a fucking word, but you know what I mean. This thing that we as human beings, as we are currently, are incapable of comprehending. And the idea of having something that we're incapable of comprehending that is magnitudes greater than us is where a lot of the horror of Eldritch Horror comes from. So I think Eldritch Horror is a very hard sell in the modern day, but that's just my opinion. So that's another reason I don't think this movie's going to be for everyone. Overall, like I said, I'm not a very big movie guy. I don't watch a whole lot of movies. But I do know the difference between a good movie and a bad movie. And this was not a bad movie. It's a pretty good movie. I think everyone should go see it, give it a chance, but do that understanding that there's a very, very high probability that you may not like it, and you may come away from it going, that wasn't for me. Overall, yeah, it was cool. What else was I going to say? Oh, I think the last thing I was going to say, the thing that stuck out to me, is I really liked a lot of the camera work and cinematography. There are a lot of, sometimes it can be a little hard to follow. There are a lot of like cuts that made me at least have to go, wait, what? Oh, okay, I'm caught up now. But the way they did some of the angles and stuff, I think was really well done, because I think it added to because the entire movie takes place in the sub, basically. And the way they did some of the camera work really makes it feel claustrophobic, right? So I guess if you have claustrophobia, maybe you won't like this movie. I don't think about that. But it gives it this more of a claustrophobic feel, which I think adds to the unease of it. It's not a like jump out, it's not a scary pop-up man jumps out and goes boo horror movie. So if you're looking for that, then you're not going to find that. It's more of an uneasiness, an unsettling dread kind of horror movie that's on a really slow burn, and personally I felt like relies a lot on the audience to do some unpacking while you're watching. I thought that there were a lot of pieces of the puzzle that the movie explicitly didn't put together, and it's being left up to the audience to put those things together. I think it did a really decent job of explaining You know, you get some snippets of stuff at the start, you start to put things together a little bit more in the middle, and then at the end, I feel like it did do a fairly decent job of giving you enough information to start putting things together pretty easily. But I also thought that there was a lot of like pieces of the puzzle that it left out that the audience kind of has to be like, all right, I guess I'll fucking do it. Get out the tacks and the string. But yeah, that's basically all I had to say. All of that to say that I thought it was fine. I didn't hate it. Like, if I went somewhere and somebody was like, oh, I haven't seen Iron Lung, we're gonna watch it, I'd probably go, all right, yeah, I guess I can watch Iron Lung again. That's not too bad. Which is kind of huge for me because I don't really do, like I said, I'm not a big movie guy. I don't really do reruns. So there's only like a handful of movies that I don't mind rewatching, and even then I have to be in like a mood, right? I have to be in the mood to sit down and be like, yeah, let's watch this, why not? So one of them is Disney's Robin Hood. Another one is the Mummy, starring Brendan Fraser. So yeah, go check it out. That's about it. I don't really have anything else to say about it. Like I said, 7.5 out of 10. It was solid. Didn't blow me away. Didn't knock my socks off. But I didn't come away from the experience being like, well, that was a waste of $20. You know what I mean? So, yeah. No, it's I think it was really good for what it was and where it came from, and overall I think the movie will do well, and I think that it doing well is going to I think this movie is going to have some ramifications, some implications that we are not yet aware of. Because, not that I think you should want to break into Hollywood, because we're not going to get into politics, but not that I think you should want to break into Hollywood, but there's been for a long time this almost animosity where you've got Hollywood and then you've got like content creators, these self-produced artists and creators, and there's been this feeling of animosity where Hollywood consistently turns their nose up at content creators and snubs them and is like, oh, well, you guys couldn't possibly understand what it takes to put something on the big screen. And here comes Markiplier in classic fashion going, how about you gargle both of my balls and let me know which one tastes better? And then he self-produces Iron Lung and puts it on the big screen himself, and basically gives the double bird to Hollywood. You guys probably shouldn't have snubbed him for that Emmy. You probably should have just given him the Emmy. I gotta be honest. At this point, you probably should have just given him the Emmy. But yeah, I think the fact that this has made it to the big screen is gonna have some larger implications for traditional media as a whole going forward. I could be wrong, but I feel like it's going to. I feel like there are things shifting right now into place that we're not fully aware of yet. So I'm interested to see where things end. But anyways, yeah, that's it. I've yapped enough about this. Iron Lung, pretty cool. Go see it. Yep, that's it. Okay, cool. Bye.